Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to Halo Forge Epidemic. This is Oakley HiDef and I'm here to bring you a tutorial. This is going to be showing you how to make a train, how to make our automated vehicles, essentially a lot of stuff that we decided to put together, and it's all based off gravity volumes. So you can see this setup here is based off what we saw on Certain Affinity's video, and I'll link that right here so you guys can go ahead and check them out. They're the game developers behind Forge and they come out with a whole bunch of tutorials as well. So as the creators, they know what they're talking about. But otherwise, we go ahead and find these glitches and we apply them in different ways. So what you can see right here is along this track, I'm putting down these gravity volumes, invisible ones, and sliding them across. Now what you can do that's interesting is right at this juncture here, raise it such that it still affects bigger objects passing through, but if there's a mongoose on the ground, it won't be affected, or players as well. The inverse can also work if you want people running on top of the crates while they're moving. Go ahead and put that gravity volume lower than the crate's total height. That way the crate is still affected, but players on top are not. So there's a lot you can do to play around with this, and I'm going to go ahead and show you how it works. So along this track, or you can just put this on the ground, you can place various objects. Now they have to be movable objects for them to actually work in customs. So I'll place down these objects, and as you can see, they're moved along. So this can be some sort of conveyor belt, or for machinima it could be effect where you're trying to replicate wind or an explosion where everything is just thrown about. So those are some cool uses of it. Now if you want it to work in minigames or in custom games, what you're going to have to do is make sure these objects are on normal. And then you're going to have to do a slight trick. If you were to place them down like this and then save your map, the game will remember where they are right now, so not at the beginning, where they ended up when you save them, and then what it'll do, it'll spawn them there and they won't move anymore. So what you have to do is put them on fixed, raise them a little bit above the ground, then without touching them, put them back on normal, and then save the game. So what happens when you go into custom games is the game remembers your object's supposed to be there, it's floating like an inch off the ground, and then the second the game realizes, oh okay, this object is now falling that 1 inch, then it takes into account the gravity volumes. But if you put the crate down on the ground, the game will not have to calculate, how gravity is affecting it because it's already sitting on the ground, and so the gravity volumes won't have an effect. So that's a trick you're going to want to keep in mind. But as you can see here, you can put virtually any movable object. And right here, this is how we did the Warthog trick on Jurassic Park, so many of you had already guessed it, and it's really not that hard. Just place down a vehicle, and then the gravity volume will move it along. The only trick is what I was just talking about how you have to place it a little bit above ground. And over here, for those of you who haven't seen our Jurassic Park map, we made autonomous vehicles here that drove around. Players could get in the back, in the side, and mow down the dinosaurs. So that was a cool part of our map that we really liked, and a lot of you were wondering how we did it. So it's simple enough, these gravity volumes, if players did jump next to the Warthogs, they would get pushed. So that's one of the problems. Right there you can see the Mantis was not affected, but if you want it to be, just go ahead and throw on some more gravity volumes. Also, I'll be linking the tutorials we have on gravity volumes and also infinite vehicles. Those will be handy. You can see all sorts of vehicles will be moved along. You can use this for mini games or maybe for some sort of aesthetic. If you're trying to make like a Banshee producing factory and you want Banshees moving around in the background, that's cool. Also another neat thing we found out is turrets can move. So place down a turret and maybe have like a roller coaster where those will go past like a loading area, the player sits in it, and then it's like a rail shooter where they're moving along sliding and they have to shoot at targets. So that's a cool use of it. And over here I show you how to make the train finally. So you put down a bunch of blocks here and they're on fixed. Then I raise them up. Then what you want to do is go ahead and put them back on normal without picking them up. So I'm just pressing X, putting them on normal. And then what I'm going to do is do spawn time 10 seconds, advanced place at start false. And that means these won't spawn in the game until 10 seconds, which allows me to see them before the loading screen really takes effect. So you want to save it while your objects are still floating. That way when you start your custom game, they will spawn floating, drop, and then what you can see is this. So this makes for a really cool train. What you can do is you can have it for aesthetics, like here, a mini game where Indiana Jones is maybe running on the top, or you can have it in a race where, it's kind of like in Mario Kart in that first desert map on the original one, where in the middle of the desert there's a train coming through. One of the small caveats for this is the crates will respawn, so they only travel a certain distance before resetting. So if you want them to go all the way along your track, you're going to have them spawn a little closer to this crossing point here. So that's something we encountered that you're going to want to take into account. Here's another example of some sort of mini game where these might be forcing you along a track and they can even do damage. Now over here is a conjunction of our unlimited vehicle glitch as well as the moving vehicles. So you can do this for all sorts of minigames. Here we pulled off a sort of Frogger map. So again, I will link you guys to those tutorials, and go ahead and have fun. There's so much you can do with this. We're just scratching the tip of the iceberg. So go ahead and like us, subscribe to us, check out certain Affinities maps, and check out all the other maps that we've shown you. If you have your own Forge tutorials and ideas, go ahead and check out our forums. We'll put a link below in the description. Anyways, this has been Oakley HiDef. See you guys.